Alright, Tank Life. Today we're going to be doing feeding baby axolotls. I don't know if you want to say too much baby. She's about 5, 6 months. I bought her at about 5 months. We've been calling her Pinky, but she does not really have a name yet. But we're going to be feeding her today. Seeing if we can feed and get some footage of Brain. I don't know if you get it, but Pinky and the Brain. I did not come up with the names. And those names are not settled yet because we have not sexed them. I like to wait till we know what sex they are before we give them a name. But those are our two babies. I think she's about 6 months and he's about 5 months. And I keep saying she and he, but they're 6 months and 5 months. We should be close to knowing the sex in a couple of months. And we're going to be feeding Ashoka. Their waters are dirty. And of course, I have my water set up behind them because after I do my feeding, I let them sit for a little bit to dirty the water up or go to the bathroom, whatever you want to call it. And then I change the water out so that way they're in clean water for the rest of the day. Ashoka looks a little bit agitated. I know she's ready to eat because I have not fed them all day to see if I get some good footage of feeding them. They usually get fed early in the morning. Yeah, Ashoka's ready to eat. I don't know if you've seen that. That's her telling me, Daddy, put some food in my water. Okay, so for the feeding today, what I am going to be using is freeze-dried brine shrimp. I know a lot of people say use fresh shrimp or whatever, but this is what I've been using. I also use fresh worms and some axolotl tablets. I go back and forth. Sometimes I feed them one thing in the morning and then the other at night. They haven't been eating too much of this. My adult axolotl, Anakin, the one that is my albino, he eats these a lot. I can just drop him in the tank and he'll go find them. But of course, you do not put your baby axolotls into a tank because it is hard to feed them once they're in the tank. You have to kind of put their food right in their faces. You'll see as I feed them, and that's why I'm using shrimp today. But Ashoka is ready to go in the tank. I just have to get her tank set up. And I am thinking about using this tank that I just got. It has to be cleaned. I'm going to be starting to clean that today. That'll be a whole nother project, but we'll see. But I have about a month and I want to get her into a tank. I don't want her sitting in here too long. I don't know if you can tell by her gills that she's kind of aggravated. Mainly it's because she hasn't eaten, but we adopted her a couple of weeks ago. She was already grown, so was Anakin. They both came from the same home. That's why we got both of them to keep them together. But we can't keep them in the same tank because Anakin is a boy and she is a female, so we're not trying to breed just yet. We're just getting our tank set up. And as you see, some old worms and stuff are in there that she didn't eat yesterday. She likes the shrimp a lot. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get our babies fed and then get them into some clean water for the day. All right. So what I usually do is I pour a little bit of the freeze-dried shrimp onto the top just so I can grab it easy. I use my tweezers to grab it and put it in the water. Of course, back there you see I got a USB fan set up over the water, and that is to chill the water out to try to get it cooled down as fast as possible because my water comes out of my faucet kind of warm. And as you should already know, your axolotls like their water cold. And I don't keep them on this table too long because of the light that you see. I usually keep them covered up, but when I bring them out to feed them, we go ahead and sit them on the table with a towel up under it because, of course, the missus does not like messes. So what I do is I use my tweezers to grab. For Ashoka, we're going to start off feeding Ashoka because she's kind of agitated. I grab a pretty big piece for her because, like I said, she's already eating whole worms. And the missus does it different, but me, I just like to drop it in the water first. Then I slide it over there to her because she likes to bite the tweezers. I don't like her to do that. I think she might get hurt one day. I just tempt her with it just a little bit. And just like that. That's one for Ashoka. As you see, they leave a mess once they bite it, and that's why I change the water after I feed them. And then for my smaller babies, I use a smaller piece, of course, because I like to try to give them enough that they can eat it in one bite and not leave too much of a mess in the tank. Let's see how he is feeling today. Doesn't seem too active, so he might not be wanting to eat. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to him. Think he might be upset with his water conditions, which is another thing. But I know my baby girl is ready to eat. She's always ready. As I said, I just drop it in the water. I slide it over there to her. Yep. And just like that. And then when there's leftovers like that, I just slide it back around in front of her face. It's something about they have to be active feeders when they're babies. They want to see you give it to them. Even if it's already in the water, they will not touch it unless I give it to them. I kind of like that because it's hands-on, and that is why I got them. These are very hands-on fish. To call them a fish, they're amphibians, of course. Hey, little buddy, what is going on? Do you want to eat today? Or have you already been eating? You're not upset. Hey, good morning. You want a little shrimp today? I'm going to come back to you, give you some time to wake up. I see you're waking up. Let's go back to Ashoka, get her some more of these good shrimps in her. No, her water is really, really dirty, so I'll get some more footage of her clean later. But she is a real good eater. She does not play with her food at all. She really likes worms, but like I said, today, just for video purposes, I'm using shrimp. They like live worms. This is why I love them, because they're so hands-on, and it's like they're predators, even though they're so laid back and gentle. Some of the most gentle creatures you'll ever encounter. Hey, buddy, you want to eat something? Yep, just like that, you see? Spits a lot of it out, and that's what causes the nasty water. And what I do is feed them for a little bit. Let's get some more for Pinky. Of course, we call her Pinky because they got them off of Pinky and the Brain for the names, but she's all white axolotl. She is not an albino. We do have an albino, but his name is Anakin, and I will try to get footage of him eating later. Going to give Pinky a big one because she is a big, big eater. We tend to call her a girl though because she's bigger. You find the females grow faster and get bigger than the boys. Oh, you missed it, baby. That was daddy's fault. Come on. Got a little bit that time. And of course, I'm going to make another video later feeding them worms. Just wanted something easy for this first one so y'all can see. It's not that hard for beginners. Of course, I did not get them from babies. I got them already kind of big. But yeah. So let's give her a little bit more. She's a real big eater. Of course, I'm going to give her some shrimp and some tablets later. But I just wanted to get some footage of me feeding them for y'all so y'all would know how to do it. Hey, mamas. And yes, I talk to my axolotls like they're dogs. See, baby girl is hungry. She's very hungry. It's crazy how to be right there and they'll just want me to touch it. And just like that, they'll eat it down. All right, that's it for now, and I'll be back in a minute after they eat and change out their waters, let you see how they're doing. Yes, sir. All right, my people, so we've waited a little while. What we're about to do now is get them into some fresh water so they can enjoy the rest of their day without all that food and waste all around them. And as I said, I fed them first and then I gave them time to go ahead and use the restroom or whatever you want to call it and just relax. You know, we're about to get them up out of the water. Of course, I set the water up earlier. Let me show you what I used. Before I fed them, I cleaned out the old tub, set up some fresh water. I set it all out so it could acclimate or so that the water could all come to the same room temperature. And I also put 10 drops of prime. I really should only use 5. I'm going to check my water later and that'll be another video. But I've been using prime to control the chlorine in my water. So yeah, and I set all that up way before I fed them. As you see, I put the fan on the water to cool the water down faster because they actually like it cold. And I also put a couple of ice cubes into those to make it cool down faster. And usually what I do is after I change their water and move them, I'll put a couple of more ice cubes in it because they like it really, really cold, about 60 something degrees. So yeah, that's basically what I do. So without further ado, let's hurry up and get this started because I have some shopping to do for my fish tanks. Like that. And mama's in her fresh new water. And of course, sometimes I have a little bit of stuff floating from the old tank. I just take my, sorry mamas, I take my net and I skim that out a little bit to make sure that it's still clean. And I just put that back into the old tank. All right, so let's get baby boy. He's a fast one. Not too many problems today. Everybody's getting used to going into their new tanks. And we have an experiment that we're coming up with later on. We're going to add some pumps to these tanks or into these tubs just to keep the water clear while they're in there. You still have to change the water because when you feed them, they're very messy. Anybody who knows axolotls by now know that axolotls are very, very messy creatures. So you have to do a lot of water changes and a lot of care. Like I said, that's why I like them. They're like fish mixed with house pets. I don't know how you would call it. But now she's the one that usually gives me a little problem because she's a little bit too big for my net. And I have to get her into a tank ASAP. But let's see what we can do with one hand. No problems today with anybody. And that is it. Everybody into their fresh tanks. Of course, what I will be doing now is I'll be emptying out the old tanks, cleaning them up, setting them up, putting a couple of drops of prime in them, and letting them sit out overnight. Or if you're running late, I usually do it before I feed them, so that way it can sit while I'm feeding them. But when I do that, like I said, I put ice cubes and a fan on it to cool the water down fast, because axolotls do not like hot water. They do not want their water up in the 70s. And if it is, they don't like it for a long period of time. So yeah, keep a fan on them as much as possible, ice cubes, and I am in the works, as I said before, of the tank, which will also have a water chiller system in it, because we love our axolotls and we want to keep them happy and healthy. There goes Ashoka, the Mac Tanuk, and of course we haven't named them yet. And later on look for the next video, I'll be doing a full update on Anakin. I'm doing a water change out and a feeding for him, just so you can see how we take care of the adult axolotls. Thank y'all for your time. I would appreciate the thumbs up if you're watching. Yep. Of course, as always, this is our fishes back in their home spot, all comfortable and ready to enjoy the rest of their day. As you can see, they're just relaxing, enjoying their nice cool water, their nice fat bellies. All right, that's it for now. We're doing updates with each one later on.